Good morning, saints, and happy Monday. The verse for today is taken from Proverbs chapter 12, verse 26. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Today's verse reminds us that we must choose our friends wisely. As righteous persons who walk uprightly and who fear the Lord, we are filled with discernment and we recognize that our inner circle influences our character and our actions, and therefore we must choose friends who demonstrate godliness and who share our morals and values. Because if we are careless with who we associate with, then we become vulnerable to the ills and vices of the world. We are more susceptible to giving into those things because we don't have friends who would correct us in love and ensure that we continue walking on the path of righteousness. And the consequence of that is we would be led astray. Now, I really want to drive home that point that you are a product of your environment. So it's critical for all of us to pause and take an inventory of the persons that we hold close and dear to us. Now, I have two practical examples. The first is a commercial that I remember airing on cable a few years ago. This woman worked at the Honey Nut Cheerios factory, and she was describing her experience every time she would go to the supermarket right after her shift. As soon as she walked in, everyone would turn and look at her and smile. Children would giggle at her or come up to her and sniff her because she smelled like Honey Nut Cheerios. She smelled like the environment she was in for the last 8 to 12 hours. Now, for those of you who do not know, I worked at the Forensic Science Center for a few years. And at the Forensic Science Center, we would examine exhibits on a daily basis, and the pathologists would perform their autopsies. And so there was always a scent of death filling up the corridors. And at that point in time, I traveled to and from work, and I was always fearful that I smelled like my environment, that I smelled like death. But thankfully, no one in the taxi ever told me anything. So, if someone could smell like their environment after 8 to 12 hours, imagine what you smell like when you associate with unrighteousness and ungodliness for decades. Think about it. You are a product of your environment. I cannot emphasize that enough. You look like your environment, you behave like your environment, and you smell like your environment. So, this week, I want you to pause and take inventory of your inner circle. Are they pointing you to Christ, or are they pointing you away from Christ? Choose your friends wisely. Have a blessed week, everyone. Take care.